Hello shining stars and welcome back to the channel. My name is Trey and today is the start of Artist BootCamp Day 1 where we'll be going over lines, simple shapes, complex shapes, how to apply those things to hands, heads, and human figures. So let's get started. But for us, we're dealing with a two-dimensional plane, a flat sheet of paper, and we're trying to simulate the real world. And we can make diagonal lines, straight lines, horizontal lines, vertical lines, hatching, cross hatching, all line worthy. Also, it's great for making 1-point perspective, 2-point perspective, and all of that. But we're just trying to simulate or an approximation of real life on a flat dimensional plane or something like that. Now, first off, we're going to talk about simple shapes. Simple shapes are great to use in constructing our unreality on a two-dimensional plane from reality. Or we are now building things on this two-dimensional plane that will then simulate what the reality that we see all around us. So we use simple shapes, the circle, the square, the rectangle, the triangle, and take that into more complex shapes, which then make things that are composed all around us. Now for the complex shapes, which are just simple shapes, like a cube is 6 sides of a square. A circle can become an ellipse with 2 lines to make this cylinder. A circle on the bottom of 2 lines can make a cone, and 4 triangles and a square can make a pyramid. But the one thing that defines all of them is light. Light and shadow can help make these complex shapes feel like they are taking up space, that they are 3D objects on a two-dimensional plane. So if you shine the light on top of a box, that one side will be lit, the 4 other sides less so, and then the farthest away from the light is in shadow. And our minds work in that way that we can see that is an object taking up space, a simulation of real life. Now the key point to all of this, and the most important thing to learn, is that everything around you is composed of simple, complex shapes and lines. So here I have photos of my hands I took with my phone in various positions, and I construct everything using simple shapes, complex shapes, and lines. So the palm of the hand can be a modified box, a flattened box. The fingers, the knuckles and all joints can be circles, which then can be connected with lines to make a cylinder, or an elongated cube to make a rectangle, and that can compose everything. Your joints, circles, cylinders for your arms and legs, and everything can be constructed in this manner. And this is how we cheat the system, where we take complex information and we break it down into simple shapes, complex shapes, and connected with lines. And that's it. That's the magic. That's pretty much all you need to go out and draw just about anything in the real world. So now let's apply what we've learned about simple shapes, complex shapes, and lines as it pertains to this skull / the size, the human head. It's basically the human head. So I have my skull Horatio as a model for this, and the most used views of the skull. Now, skulls are some of the most drawn objects because we are infinitely curious about humans and their form. And the most popular views are front, 3/4 turn left, 3/4 turn right, and profile views. Now first let's focus on the skull in the front facing view. Now, the largest part is the cranium, which houses the brain, and that is indicated by the large circle. There is the nasal cavity and the mandible, which is your jaw, which is attached by very strong muscles. And the breakdown, we have the very middle, and then all these lines going horizontal. And at top we have hairline, then the eye ridge, the eye line, the nose line, the mouth line, and the chin. And that is the basic breakdown of the human face. And then we can also do that in 3/4 view. And what you'll notice is that the brow ridge comes out and then goes in and then comes out again around the cheekbone and zygomatic arch. And the mandible again is attached to the skull proper with very strong muscles. But of course they have the hairline, brow ridge, eye line, nose line, and mouth. And then we can make a side plane. And the side plane helps us to indicate where light is hitting. If the light is hitting from one direction, then the far side will be in shadow. And the space between that would be medium lit. On the other angle, we got hairline, brow ridge, eye line, nose line, and mouth. Side plane goes around the cheekbone, zygomatic arch. If light is hitting from the front, that would be well lit. The back would be in shadow. Or if the opposite is true, the light would be from the back, the front could be in shadow, and the side plane would be medium lit. So the same idea applies to the human form. On the left, I have a mess of scratches, which I would do just normally, but the breakdown is just to the right of that. It is a simple character done with simple shapes, circle for the skull, and the egg shape or circle for the rib cage. The joints are circles. The hips are a modified cube, which is just based off the boxes. Joints, circles, limbs, lines. And that is the basis of the human form. This is pretty much all you need to get started with doing the human body in any range of motion that is possible. But this is the simplified version of the human body. And then to the right of that is the step up, same thing, circle for the skull and chest, modified boxes, circle joints, cylinders for the limbs, right? It's just based off of the more simplified form. This is just a little bit more complex, just a step up. But if you can do one, you can do the other, right? And then to the right of that is just a more defined, refined version of the other two. So again, we're starting simply, and then we move to simple to complex, and then you just keep refining until you get the final thing that you want. And that is the basis of art in a nutshell. Simple to complex. We're simulating real life on a 3D plane, and that's the basis of art. So that was Artist BootCamp Day 1, where we went over lines, simple shapes, complex shapes, and how to apply those things to hands, heads, and the human figure. Next week, I think we're going to add to all of this with anatomy study and how to apply the anatomy study to a mannequin, which I find really helpful, as well as doing the lines, the complex shapes, simple shapes, heads, hands, and all of that. So I have been Trey Hodges. You can find my work at treyhodges.com. Take care, keep shining, and power to all of the creators. Bye-bye. See you next week. That was a good day. That was a good day.